Namaskaram. We are continuing with the Mahabharata story. We concluded the two marriages of Pandu to Kunti and Madri. I don't know if I don't remember if we said that the two marriages of Pandu and that the one marriage of Dhritarashtra, those three were different in type. Dhritarashtra's marriage was the traditional style of arranged marriage that Bhishma approached the Gandhara king for his daughter's hand and he accepted, and that was a traditional approach to marriage. Pandu's first marriage was what is called Swayamvaram, where Kunti would have chosen her preferred partner in an assembly of kings, and she would be taken around and she would choose the one she liked. So that was Swayamvara. And the second marriage was by paying a bride money called Kanya Shulka. It is only in the first step, in the engagement, this difference. Afterwards, the actual marriage ceremony is in the same traditional style. After his two marriages, soon after that, Pandu went on a conquest of the neighboring countries. He started with he took permission from Bhishma, Dhritarashtra and other senior Kurus, and he started with Dasharna, who was one of the traditional enemies of the Kurus. See, in olden days, the kings always fought with neighboring kings at one time or other. Some were traditional enemies and others became friends. So there was always fight with neighbors, and Dasharna was one such, and Pandu fought with him and won over him. Then he proceeded to Magadha, and the king of Magadha was called Videha king. In Ramayana, Sita was known to have come from Videha dynasty, and hence she was called Vaidehi. He went to Magadha and won over, and then he went to Mithila, and the king there was known as Videha, and what is it called? Sita in the Ramayana was known as Vaidehi because she was the daughter of the Videha king, and she was also Maithili because she came from Mithila, the country. And then he continued over Kashi, Sumha and Pundra. These are all small kingdoms in the northeast. And several other countries around Hastinapura, and he won all of them. It was a Digvijaya. It was a complete victory over the neighboring countries. And when somebody wins over a king, the king pays tribute. The tribute is supposed to be for the war expenses, also for future support to the conquered territory. It is the responsibility of the victor to keep an army there and look after the interest of the defeated king. If it becomes a vassal kingdom, if someone attacks the vassal kingdom, then it is the victor who fights for him and defeats the enemy. So it becomes, in a sense, part of the empire, but within the kingdom, the vassal king has freedom to rule. And after all those victories and with all those tributes collected, Pandu returned with a large entourage of camels, horses, chariots and elephants, all carrying the wealth which he won over as tribute from all these countries. He came to Hastinapura and again paid tribute to Bhishma, Dhritarashtra and others, and gave them valuable gifts which he had collected. And they were all very pleased with Pandu's performance. Soon after this, Bhishma also arranged for the marriage of Vidura, and it was the daughter of King Devaka, who was the princess was named Parashavi, and she was brought to Hastinapura, and Vidura married her and had several children in them. That's all what we know about Vidura's marriage or his children. Vidura doesn't actively participate in the war which would soon ensue. Pandu, after this his Digvijaya victory parade, he went to the forest with his two wives hunting. He was very fond of hunting. He was very good with his bow and arrows. And after killing a large number of animals, he saw a pair of deer engaged in armor, in the sense they were copulating. And Pandu's arrow hit the male deer and it fell down with a human voice. And he took his original human form and spoke to Pandu, saying that what you have done is very unfair. He was a sage by name Kindama, and he took a fancy to have a deer as his partner, and he was engaged in copulating with the deer. And it was the sage Kindama who was killed by Pandu's arrow. Before dying, he cursed Pandu, saying that you also will have the same fate as I am. If you touch any woman with the purpose of having a relationship with her, you shall die immediately. And the sage Kindama fell down dying. And Pandu was shocked. This was something he had not foreseen. This hunting is considered one of the 7, I think, reasons for sorrow for a king. Hunting is one of the reasons for sorrow. And knowing that hunting is a favored pastime for kings. In Ramayana, King Dasharatha had similar fate. He killed a sage's son when he was picking water in a pot, in a pitcher, for his blind parents. And hearing the sound, he thought it was an elephant drinking water with its trunk. So he sent an arrow. It is one of the skills warriors learn, to send arrow to the destination just by the sound. And the arrow hit the sage's son and he died, and the sage cursed Dasharatha that he would have the same fate. He would die because of his children. And there was nothing to do except Pandu thought he should spend the rest of his life praying in a forest, in a hermitage, meditating. In life, there are 4 stages, starting with Brahmacharya, which is time for studies, then Garhasthya, which is for worldly life, marry, have children, and enjoy life with the family. The 3rd stage is Vanaprastha, when he retires to the forest and spend time meditating. And final is Sannyasa, which is becoming a sage and forgo all worldly life. The sannyasa is supposed to be the step. Vanaprastha is supposed to be a step towards sannyasa. We will continue with the story tomorrow. Namaskaram.